Aloha Friday, Hulahans, and even better, happy International Pineapple Day.
Wow, there's actually a thing for that.
There is a real thing. I seen it pop up on my calendar and I looked it up and it's a legit thing. The pineapple has its own day in the middle of summer. So have a pineapple today, Johnny.
You know what's so interesting, Danny, is like how much do we even grow it anymore? Like I know you still got the Dole plantation kind of over on Oahu. It's more of like a tourist attraction now. We still got
Yeah.
Maui gold, and so
Yes.
we still have that, but it is such a thing from the past, right? I mean, because yeah, that's what opened up Lanai to be privately owned, right? Dole owned the island, Pineapple
No more
leaves,
pineapples.
Rupert Murdoch picks it up, flips it to Ellison. Now it's a luxury hotel location.
That's it.
Molokai, dude, that's what brought us back here. Like literally, if Del Monte would have stayed in there, I would have remained on Molokai. My dad would have never moved. My mom, everybody, like he just loved it over there. But that was it, man. Late 70s, Del Monte picks up, they bail, go to Africa, and that kind of reset that economy there. So yeah,
No,
interesting
no more
times.
pineapples. The pineapple has such an important role, and everyone still comes to Maui and wants to enjoy a pineapple from my experience.
Well, it's interesting too because like pineapple and sugar were like the main things, and to me they were almost kind of like a wealthy treat almost, or you know what I mean? Like why was that such a big commodity at that particular
It's
time?
not what
You
normal
know?
people eat, right?
Yeah. So
And they're not really even
interesting.
from here naturally.
No, absolutely not. Same thing,
Yeah,
macadamia, that's more Australia, all kinds of things. You know, we just
pineapple from South
presented a,
America.
yeah, presented a really, really great growing environment.
This
So,
is true. The volcanic
yep,
soil. It's a big
yep.
deal. So, Johnny, updates. Wednesday
Yeah, man.
was the end of testimony for
Mm,
this housing conversation Minatoya list. Lots, I think, 4 total days of testimony,
mm,
and there was a lot of it from all sides and situations. So next up is some deliberation. Apparently, they're meeting with the mayor and his team next Wednesday before the 4th of July weekend to ask questions. They're going to bring in lawyers. They're bringing in kind of their whole team. That's all about this thing, and they're going to kind of talk through it. And then from there, I think they vote, which is probably the next week. So two
mm.
weeks, 2 weeks out from the vote. But one thing I kind of wanted to share, I've been watching all of the testimony.
Yep.
Have a second screen over here, and as I'm doing other things, I'm just kind of listening to it in the background on 2x speed. So yeah, you can
There you
listen to
go.
our show on 2x speed too if you want. It is kind of helpful. But what I'm noticing is kind of two things: is you got people on either side, and they're looking at it very differently. You have one
Hmm.
side that's against the bill, that's thinking super logically, and it's all about money, money, money. It's all about taxes. It's all about job loss. It's all about economy. It's really all around the money. The other
And
side is
you mentioned that a good portion of that is who? People that
realtors.
look like you and I. Yep. And
Yeah.
realtors have this reputation here of just being so greedy, right? And
Mm,
sometimes, I mean, it does show up. So anyway,
it does.
yeah.
Yeah. So logic, 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 logic. It's even some of the talking points we've seen. We've seen a few emails that are like, "Hey, here's your talking points." A few texts, "Here's your talking points." It's all money, 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 money. The other side, it's really emotion driven. It's
Yeah.
family. It's we miss our kapuna, the grandparents, the elderly. We miss uh, the kids that moved away. We miss the families that moved away. We miss singing with grandma on the sidewalk. We miss having luau's in the neighborhood. Uh,
Mm,
it's really kind of sentimental.
hmm.
And so there's kind of this conflict where this side doesn't understand or really care about this side, and this side doesn't really see the value in having family if you don't have money. And this side doesn't really care about money because you have family.
Well,
And
they don't
we,
have much money. We don't have much to lose. Like when I say us, right, I'm talking
yeah,
true local people, truly the native Hawaiian culture, not not really motivated to go out and get stuff and more. And granted, we love our big lifted trucks and whatnot, right? But still, like, yeah, just a different mentality. Hmm.
Very different. And that's something we kind of talked about was last week, or maybe it was the week before. We talked about is there's not this drive for multiple properties or investments or planning for the future. It's kind of you do it now, and money is sort of a fluid thing in the culture. It's just you get what you need when you need it, and that's what money is. And that's kind of what you're hearing in the testimony is a lot of these people are like, hey, don't tell me what I can't afford. Like if it's whatever price it is, then we'll figure out a way to make it happen. And so this is kind of where it's at. And so my opinion, um, and Johnny had a great off-air comment. Like this show is really like the weather forecast for real estate. We're going to give you thoughts, opinions, predictions based on evidence, what we're seeing, or facts and numbers. But we're going to bring you kind of interpretation and prediction and thoughts behind it. And we might be wrong. It's
You know,
we could be wrong.
I reflect on my time with Keller Williams, right? Because I
Mm,
was there in the heyday, and I remember Maps coaching being created by Diana Kokoska, right? I could
yeah.
say her name; she's super famous at what she does. But I
Yeah.
remember being in bold, and the script that she taught me was, I don't predict real estate. I don't predict the markets, right? I'm here to
Yeah.
interpret them as they're happening right now.
Yeah.
So, we'll throw out our opinions, but remember, that's the objective. That is the objective. But with that being said, kind of wanted to just do like a big picture view to get started here today.
Yeah, so let me drop my opinion for him first.
Please. Yeah.
So based on what I'm hearing in all the testimony, based on the energy in the room, you can just feel it when someone is coming in for the bill. There's a lot of energy in the room. There's clapping, even though they say no clapping, no celebration, none of that. There's clapping in the background. You can hear the cheers. You can see the smile on the faces of the councilmen and women. You can feel the energy. You can see the crying from the councilmen and women when there's certain testimony shared.
Yeah.
My feeling is this is
They're gonna
going to
throw them a
go
bone, aren't they?
this is going to go through, and after the fact there's just going to be some kind of maybe realignment or shifting around or rezoning of some things, but this is feeling more and more like it's going to go through.
I like that opinion, Danny. I think you're right. I mean, how do they save face by not doing it now? The backlash would be immense, don't you think? It's a
It
small
really would
island.
be. It
Yeah,
really
we
would
got
be.
all
And
live.
you're hearing that from some almost threatening testimony of
Mm,
there was someone, one of the unions was testifying on Wednesday, and they said every single one of you, and they're pointing, like every single one of you came and paraded yourself in our union when you needed our help to get yourself elected. And now
mm.
we're asking you to help us get housing on this island. That was one of the testimony the other day. So that's kind of the energy. That's the excitement. That's almost the pressure in the room. So yeah, I'm not sure. Legal ramifications aside, which they've been pretty clear, the councilmen and women, that do you think we haven't really consulted lawyers about this? They keep asking that to people. So that
Hmm.
to me is kind of they feel pretty confident in their position that this is okay, that they've
Mm.
found a way to navigate with it. So that's where we're leaning at this point. Now, what the ramifications of that could be a lot of things, right, Johnny? But
Absolutely.
but basically, what they're saying is there's going to be some sort of like 5-year period. So it's not instant. Not everyone's going to lose instant. And in some ways, a lot of these sort of vacation rentals are owned by people that sell in 2 to 3 years. That has been
Yeah.
our experience as agents is a lot of our clients, they come 2 to 3 years, they either get sick of it, bored, they're kind of tired of different things or rentability or it's been pretty chaotic the last couple of years with fires and COVID and this and that. So people kind of move on from these things quickly as well. So
Yeah. I mean, really, what it comes down to is a feeling against over tourism. Is
yeah,
that the general consensus that you're saying, where it's like we used to do this and now we can't? And I can see that, man. And this is where, like, trying to curb people with costs, right? Like just
Mhm.
making every tourist pay parking every place they go. Like I am
Yeah.
tripping, dude. I go to Ironwoods, I go to Fleming's Beach. There's parking, like, that just outside of Merriman's, where, like, Merrin used to charge you to go walk down to Kapalua Bay. Now that's all paid parking in there. Same thing, Kapalua Bay for parking. So yeah, it definitely feels that way. Well, I will say, man, that once a place gets absolutely over touristic, it isn't fun for anybody. You mentioned to me when you went to the Amalfi Coast, it was not the best experience you had in your life. And you're a prolific traveler and you look forward to that, but you're like, that was kind of a boo.
Yeah, definitely. I had a really good meal in Positano, but the
Okay.
town itself and the craziness, I mean, it was body to body like sardines, like just trying to walk through some of the towns there. And it was just people breathing on you, yelling at you, can't stand there, can't do this, can't do that. It wasn't the most fun for sure. So I can resonate with that. I mean, when I travel, I don't like to go to the super touristy places
Right.
as much as possible. I mean, you got to go to some of the highlights around the world, and we did that together in Paris. We went to some of those spots, but it's a
Yeah,
bit
dude, hanging out those
overwhelming.
museums. Yeah, those museums were just such a boo, man. You
Yeah,
can't even see the pictures. They're just so packed.
yeah.
So, huh.
Exactly. So that's kind of the vibe, and we're seeing that around the world. I mean, Barcelona has kind of gone very anti-tourist and pushing and kind of around the same topic. So
This is the
it's
Airbnb model dying, Danny. And I'm getting that reading that we've reached super saturation, it feels. So, not to say that it's going to completely go away,
because I
but
think it's gone away from what it was originally intended to be, which was sharing a
hmm,
meal with travelers in your open space,
right.
your extra
Corporate got a
bedroom.
taste of it, huh?
Yeah, corporate, and then stock market and IPOs and all of those sorts of things. So it's again kind of the discussion of logic versus emotion. It started with emotion and kind of this feeling of community, and now it's become logic and money driven and stocks and all that kind of stuff. So
Well, you've watched me wrestle with my thoughts about it, and I've swayed
yeah,
back and forth, right? And this is who I am as a person, right? Dad's your average white guy from Portland, Oregon. Mom's a native Hawaiian with some Japanese from here, and so you know, education was important to them for me, and I feel
yeah,
like that kind of gives me different perspectives as well.
because you
And
got
at the
yeah you
same,
you have the education, and then you
yeah,
also have the chill like Danny, I'm just gonna surf and sell real estate until I go home. So you have the simplicity and then the education, and so you also have this kind of mixed.
yeah, I mean, and then also, I look at property rights as being so important as well. And
Mhm.
the fear for me is every time the government does something for you, for one particular side, and that side cheers, what they don't realize is that it opens up the opportunity for it to go against them at a different time. Like, I just don't like any sort of overreach, or, you know what I mean? Like, okay, that
Yeah,
was a right and now it's taken away. So where's the freedom? But it is what it is, and we'll play through.
we
We'll
will
play
play
through.
through, and Maui's still going to be attractive to a lot of people,
Absolutely.
people who are non-locals who will find a oceanfront condo or a vacation rental or a second home. It's still going to be very popular, and I don't think that goes away at all.
No,
And it's still going to be popular for vacationers because they're still advertising and pushing for tourism. And I
as they
think
should.
the housing is going to look a little bit differently, and some of the condos may be no longer rentable, which
I wish. Go ahead.
we'll talk about in a few minutes. But sometimes it doesn't even make sense.
I wish there was some way that local people could insert themselves into the hosting of these condos and that sort of thing, to where everybody gets a little bit of something, some sort of combo plate, because we do like to host, man. We are a generous people. We are a happy people. Man, like you hear that all about like Hawaiians when they went to California for the first time and kind of exposed like these surfers that were just starting to surf in the culture where it's like, bro, let's make a big bonfire at the beach. Let's play with some meat and let's party. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, like we are great hosts. And so if there was some way to interject that, like I wish like we could have taken advantage more in the earlier times, and some of us did. Like there's smart investing Hawaiian people, but I think like we kind of there's a big feeling of we missed out, other people took advantage of it, and now we're kind of pissed off. Whereas we could have been really really great being involved in it and really being those hosts, like man, because there's nothing like sharing your culture, man. And we love it. Oh, try this food and try this.
I
Like
mean, we
that's a
all
true
feel that.
Hawaii that we kind of feel like I'm missing out on. Like, I have this theory, like the more we defend ourselves as Hawaiian people, we do give up aloha for it because we're
Yeah.
fighting. But I'm like, bro, we kind of showed what we can do up at Mauna Kea. Like we just sat, like we just camped. My mind was like, how can you just go camp for a year? Don't you have jobs? But bro, that's what we did. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so that's Ki Aloha there. So anyway, long time talking on this.
Big topic. So that's what's going on, kind of in this conversation that we've been having for a while, that we've been sharing with you,
Hmm.
our faithful listeners, and even people in our community. So
Definitely sounds out some carve outs, maybe on particular complexes. You heard some mentions about Papa Kea, where there people are like, yeah, that one does not make sense, which
Papa
is
Kea,
interesting. Why
Maui,
they Akahi?
Ka'anapali Villas,
Yep,
Maui El Dorado. Those three were
yep,
specifically mentioned, which is interesting. No one mentioned that Ka'anapali Villas used to be the Hilton. Nobody mentioned that it actually used to be a proper hotel,
right.
um, which
It's
is
just
kind of
mentioned that
funny.
in the community plan, it was always a resort, but for some
Yeah.
reason they decided to zone it this way.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
talk about it being a Hilton before. Nobody made mention of that, but there is a few properties, and someone kind of went around and created a list and kind of walked all the properties, and they said, well, most of the properties are vacation rentable, but there's no actual office, so why is it a hotel? It's not a hotel because you can't go to the front desk and you can't get toilet paper and you can't talk to someone. So, and
there it
then
is.
mailboxes was another topic of
Oh, yeah.
conversation. That if
It's got
there's
a
a
mailbox,
mailbox in the property, then it wasn't designed to be for tourists.
which is interesting too, right, Danny? Because when you think about, our typical Seattle retiree, I'm on a vacation on Maui. What is the dream? Well, really, it
Part
starts
time.
with a love of wanting to spend time on Maui. So they
Yes.
want a place, right? That's why studios don't work a lot of times in these discussions that we have with people, even though like the price range probably benefits them more, but they always want bigger because they're like,
Yeah,
dude, I don't know if I can spend 3 months in a studio. So interesting, huh? Like
it is.
most of ours really wants the hybrid,
Yeah.
but that's not going to be so available.
They want the hybrid and they want the bigger space. I mean, we hear it all the time of people like, we send out a deal of the week. It's a studio. People kind of come back and like, it's too small. I need something bigger, more
Mm.
spacious, which is, I mean, common on the mainland. Everything's bigger, right? All the houses are bigger, spaces are
Well,
bigger. You don't
we
need as
had the
much.
discussion. We had the discussion when the mayor made the threat right out the very beginning. We sent out that blast email, just kind of updating and kind of got started there before the show even existed, right?
We did.
So we felt at that time that potentially the hotel zone condominiums were potentially at the bottom of pricing and that the Minatoyas were at their peak. And the reason for that was going to be supply and demand, because if we whip out 7,700 pieces of supply, then what happens in the remaining hotel zoned condos, right? They're the ones that have to take up that excess supply. So now we have limited supply. So what's going to happen to the rates in the hotel zoned condos? They should
Up,
accelerate.
up,
Now,
up, up.
when that's going to happen, I don't know, because guys, I'm not giving you the all clear sign. We don't have a ton of tourism happening right now. 70% is the best case scenario. And I've got buyers that are screaming at me saying, "Find me the one with 80% that's for $500,000 or it's at 80%." I'm like, dude, if I find those, I'm not telling you, I'm buying it myself.
Mhm.
Right?
That's
So,
it.
yeah.
That's it
Well,
exactly.
let's dive into the big picture here, dude. We'll accelerate this here. But I really, really like this discussion, man. And I appreciate you being on all this,
It
watching all that
was
testimony.
it was a lot of hours. All right, here we go.
Let's go
Mm,
condo and let's go sales price.
Condo sales price.
So we are max here, guys. This is the tail of the tape. So you see that other mountain there to the left? That was the Great Recession market, which we thought was just absolutely insane. Subprime financing, easy money, pick a payment. You probably don't even remember that, Danny. They had a program called the Pick a Payment, where you could pick a payment where you didn't even pay enough to pay off the interest, and they tack that thing onto the end of the loan. That was that particular period of time. And when did we breach that, Danny? Well, it looked at 2022 in the COVID market is when we popped up above that, and then we surpassed that. Now, there is a phenomenon called reversion of the mean, and I'm not necessarily saying it's going to happen, but it sure happened from 2005 to 2012, where prices had to revert back to 2005 beginning pricing for all the inventory to get consumed. So look at that, guys. Yes, we're having a bit of correction, but we have a long way to go. I wouldn't mind seeing us come down to support at that zero point 0.6 mark, $500,000 or 0.6 million, 600 grand. That would be kind of healthy there, right? But man, who knows? It could touch that bottom there again and revert back down to zero point 0.3 because it has in the past. So, with this being said, guys, when we bring you a deal of the week, we are looking for the outlier from this. That's what we're looking for. The behavior where I'm pricing, doing incremental price reductions, and I'm so down below everybody else that's staying accelerated because they're hoping that is the deal of the week. So touch on single family as well here, Danny, with median sale price.
Single family.
And
Here we
there it
go.
is. That
Oof.
is brutal, dude. And literally, it was all COVID. That is
Yeah,
what
because
caused this crazy pop, dude. Because I
if
remember
we
being there and part of
go
that.
here, we kind of hit that 2006-7 peak right in the end of 2019, early 2020. And then from there, this is all COVID.
It was. And what did 90% of our savvy buyers do at that particular time there, Danny? I mean, we sold, man.
They're
They
gone.
sold. They sold. Now, granted, they all probably had to go back to the office, so that model no longer worked. But the problem with the market right now comes with interest rates, Danny. In the COVID market at the peak, we had 2, 3% rates. Don't know if we'll ever see that. Don't know if my kids will ever see that in their lifetime. But that's what's caused the overhang. People could still float because they're in at a comfortable payment, even though they had to overpay. It's when that number becomes uncomfortable, and it's starting to because the fees are so high. That's what's going to cause a potential correction. Now, the wild card is what happens because Trump's already thrown pressure on the Fed to lower rates, and he's kind of looking at it for the housing market. But the real number is that we have all this debt that's financed at such higher rates, and that's what he really wants to bring down. But it could kick off the housing market. I don't know if we have the euphoria that we would anymore. There's so much uncertainty. I don't know if we
Mm.
have the rush. Even if rates are lower, I don't. I mean, prices are still elevated, so I don't know. That's a wild card for me. So, what's my point? Plenty of room to correct with pricing, and the reason why it's not happening now, especially on the Minnesota list prices, those people have priced as a backup plan. Hey, if somebody else will come along and take this off my hands at this, I'll get rid of it. But I'm still hoping because that's where we're not seeing the drastic price reductions we want to see. We're still seeing realtors come out and price, like prices are still going up. So that's the big picture there, gang. That's what I'm watching
And kind of what you mentioned, Johnny, is it's sort of a holy huddle of everyone hanging around this price point and nothing's
with
really
hope.
moving.
It's
Yeah.
hope.
They keep
It's hope.
adding more friends to the huddle, but nobody is really leaving the huddle. And the ones that do are really the ones that either have to get out or they're just kind of ready to move on to something else, and they're just like, "Let's go, drop the
There's
price
going to
and
be
get me out of here."
something's going to spook the herd. We just don't know which herd it's going to be. Is it going to be the buyer herd or is it going to be the seller herd? And if you keep listening, we'll keep you updated.
We will keep you updated. Any other
We are
data you want to look at here, Johnny?
let's go month supply for the gang. So what's a balanced market in real estate? Usually about 6 months. Where am I at for housing? Single family? I'm right there, man. So I'm
Very good.
balancing housing. Everything's selling for local people, sub 900, sub a million, but we're still seeing people buy fatties over here. Let's go condo. Oof. But look at that, guys. In order for the market to turn over during the Great Recession, we hit 32 months supply, 31. And where are we at right now? We're only at 12. I don't know what that means, but we have a lot higher to correct from in terms of a lofty price position. So, man, anyway, in the world of supply and demand, that is
That
a
is interesting.
telling, that is a telling tape right there, gang.
So one other thing, let's look at days on market.
Yes.
So in a lot of markets around the country, this would be a really concerning number, right? This going up to 106 days on market.
Yep.
But is that a concern for us?
We've always talked about it that in the past. So the portion is from 2021 down to 2023. That was the unrealistic market of Maui in terms of days on market. That was the outlier, but that's what we've all gotten used to. And we've kind of predetermined ourselves. Like, I feel like I suck when I don't sell something right away, right?
Yeah,
But again, Maui's historically been a market where 50% of our purchases are people don't live here. So that adds to days on market. Minatoya list condos will add to this as well because the vacation rental ones always move just because they came with a, well, it could pay for itself kind of permission, if you would. Because we've
yeah,
always mentioned that in our discussions, right? For us, the way that I looked at a lot of our buyers is that they are retiring and they want to buy a toy to kind of reward themselves. And the toy
yeah.
is a vacation rental condo on Maui. But the logic behind it that allowed them to make that discussion was, well, it would somewhat pay for itself. So now I'm being smart, right? So
Yes.
anyway, that was always my little comment there.
That's it. So what we've seen kind of historically is 160 days roughly on average
There it
for
is.
condos, and right
Yep.
now we're at 138, so kind
Getting
of
back there.
below, getting back there, but not quite. And on the single family also, I mean, look at this. We're around 100, 140 days, 160 days, somewhere in that range for your average over time.
Yep. Equity also plays into this condo market as to how much pain these potential sellers can deal with too, Danny. Right? Condotel financing typically require about 35% down. So, you've bought equity in, whether you knew it or not. It's when we start going deep, pricing starts going deep into gouging out even that little bit of equity. That's when we'll see the rush, in my opinion. One last little thing I'll just throw out there, dude. Lake Tahoe went through the same experience I heard 2017, 2018, where they put
Yeah.
the kibosh on vacation rentals. But unfortunately, what happened there is a vast majority, I heard 70% just segued into second homes. They just sit. And that'll be the unfortunate thing for the local side, where if they could end up where there is no benefit to them. But we'll see how that plays out. But that's what happens when you attract the well-heeled, and we definitely attract that. We are known. Tamua, the comedian, he made fun of us. We are the bougie island.
And that's the vibe from the testimony, and that's what we've heard from some of our clients as well. Is if this does change, if rentability goes away, um, they're kind of indifferent.
My son works in my daughter. They both worked in Waikiki. They deal with a different clientele than we do here on Maui. Waikiki, you can still pick up a place for sub $100 a night. It'd be rough, but you're still in Waikiki, not on Strip, right? So different. It's definitely
Very
different.
very different
They see it
clientele.
in the tipping too.
Very
All right.
different clientele. So you wanted to also kind
Oh
of
yeah, this one here.
reference this in
So
relate to rental
so
numbers. So this was a deal of the week we sent out 2 weeks ago. It is now pending under contract. But
now
what do you
keep in
want to tell
mind
us?
this is at 599, right? So the price did come down there, but the real number is that net to owner, 13,320. So this tells this should tell our clientele. So the people that feel like financing is the only way they can make this happen, keep in mind that's what you have to pay your mortgage. So you're going to have to put down so much money to where you're basically going to have $1,000 mortgage in order for this thing to be paying for itself. I don't know if it works, guys. And that's going to be also a part of the price correction. We always talk about how price cash gets the discount, and it
Yes.
does. And it'll continue to get the discount. Cash is going to be the only thing that can come in and sweep up this condo market as it starts to come down. Talk about that all the time, how difficult it is to get financing on these condos. And cash is going to come in and swoop in on Maui.
Sure will.
So basically,
Anything
it's
else?
it's next to impossible to finance a condo here without coming out of pocket. Reason for that is the rates are so much lower, the occupancy is so much lower. So if you are an investor that is going to be financing, you have to have capital float on this thing for a few years. Sounds like 5 years of uncertainty if they have their way.
5 years of uncertainty, absolutely. As if it hasn't been that uncertain the last 5 years, right, Johnny?
Whiplash, Danny. Talk about pivot, 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 constant pivot. But that's what you do to be successful in this industry.
And that's it, anywhere you go.
Yep.
All righty.
We go, Hulahans. Here we go. We'll finally wrap up with the numbers for you, gang. This one, dude. So I don't know what it's like inside. Felt like a decent price for the islands, man. I don't really like that rough looking driveway, quite frankly. Looks a little dirty. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everything needs to be perfect if you're going to whack one on the park. But like
Yep.
2,000 feet coming out at 1.5 in the past, that would have been like, oh, okay. But yeah, 1.3 not getting it done. And it never went into escrow.
Nope. Will be interesting to see where that one goes. Prices are
All right.
coming down.
They sure are. Here we go, man. New build 2024. Developer throws it out there. Starts out at 6.85 million for 4,303 feet. I got to get my money out of this thing, Danny. It's a profit. I'm not sure. Now we're reaching coffee farms pricing at Lani Kea, and I love Lani Kea, but it's not on acreage.
He's not. This one has a little bit more land than some of the other ones, but
Granted, you know what
not
sucks though? Go
much.
back to picture 8. So roof height restriction kicked in, but you know what? People still complain that they can see a roof in their view.
Yeah, that is one roof in your view.
Yep. Great community though, Lani Kea. Anna Leo. We've talked about this one a bit.
Yes, we
When they
have.
came out at 4.2 million.
The whole package.
There
4.2,
it
they're
is.
down 500, almost $500,000 now.
It's a lot of buildings, but man, it's an interesting location. Like nothing around you is going to be similar ever. You
That's
are an
right.
outlier. Yeah. That's a
They
compound though.
they usually say you don't want to be the outlier in the community when it comes to trying to sell, right?
So the only opportunity for a potential sale on this, in my opinion, is they got to chop it up.
CPR it.
Yep. And that's where it would make sense for, a real estate investor is, if price got down to a point where somebody could make that pencil and then they chop it up themselves.
Chop it up, sell them off piece by piece, or keep one of
Yep.
them and move it on. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
with you on that.
Waiapo, man, love the neighborhood, just the way that it looks, everything all together. But yeah, no favors at 1,595 well over a year ago. Cute place though, but 1560. It seems like that neighborhood is really, really corrected. I'm not sure what it is because it's one of the newer, cooler looking, smaller communities, not like the Ilani Villages, which is just this monster of a development.
Yeah,
That's cute, man.
super cute.
Yeah.
Seems well done. And this, I mean, yeah, these prices were going to the moon at some point. I mean, we were watching it, right? It was just going
One
up, up,
five,
up,
one
up, up, up,
six.
up, 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 and now it's kind of stalled out.
Oh, maybe it's because HOA. Local people don't like HOA. No, tell me what tree I cannot plant. What you mean? And I can't park my truck on the yard?
No,
Here it
can't.
is, Danny. That's the one I was saying. Man, it started out where I was like, okay, 489. Crickets. Crickets at 489.
And
This guy's
440.
gonna go. You think this is the one that goes sub 400?
Oof.
399?
It's
I'd
gonna be
come in at
close.
385. I'd come in at
Yeah,
385 probably. Get somebody there.
it's gonna be close for sure.
Yep.
Wait and see. Probably see it on the hot list next week.
There it is. Hana Highway haiku action on an acre with a ohana. How big's the ohana? 2 bedroom, 1 bath. Okay, fairly new build, 2007. Got a little view there. I think that's perceived market. Maybe a little bit high because no 2 acres.
Yeah, I'm
And
with you there.
funky plan at 2 bedroom, 2.5. Got to have a den or something. You can't tell me he literally did that big of a house with just 2 bedrooms. Got to be some office space, something that can act as another bedroom.
And that's what makes these kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Not your typical 3, 4 bedroom house with a couple thousand square feet. And that one might sit a bit.
Here we go. Ma Elias Surf. I
These
mean,
are
so
turning
what are the one?
over.
Yeah, what are the 1 bedrooms sell for in here? They usually come with all the heat. Low
That
density.
that last one was
Ooh,
1.5, wasn't it? That we were looking
ooh,
at.
oh, I got difficulty with that kitchen there, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, really light. Not sure about that one, especially
Rear
all the
wall.
woodwork we've seen in some of these here.
These ones are typically
So,
done up to the nines. Like these are
yeah,
really, really well remodeled. This one,
yeah,
not so much. I think the price kind of
yeah,
reflects that. I mean, we did see those
yeah.
last 1 bedrooms close in the
One,
what
two,
was
and
it?
three.
I think it
Was
was
that it?
higher. I think it was almost
Okay,
1.5.
okay, okay. Hotel Zone, gang. North Kihei, just as you come in. Goes Kealia, the beach, the leasehold. After that, you got Sugar Hill, gang. Sugar Beach. Next to Sugar Beach, Nani Kaihale. Next to Nani Kaihale, you got Kihei. What is it? Beach
Kai.
something or other. Kihei Kai. And then Ma'alaser.
Yep. This one, 2020 remodel. That looks a lot older than that.
It really does,
This
man.
is the bathrooms. But there you go. There's your
Lots of
second
carpet.
bedroom. Kind of a loft.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's gonna want to remodel this thing for sure. But there is Motley Surf. Get in.
Boom. Oh, coming down to earth, 600 grand. 1-1. The view is other. Oh, it's
Mhm.
105.
It's gonna be closer to the water though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they don't show that at all. Interesting. So yeah, these have come down a lot with the threats of Minatoya and rentability coming away. I think the floor plan's a bit funky for me.
It is. That real
Um,
side angle on everything
yeah, it's kind of
right when you
interesting.
walk
So
in. It is.
600, I think these are gonna keep coming down.
Yep, man. They just threw some money in 2025. All righty. Maui Meadows for the Rebels.
Oh
3.2
boy.
for 3310. How big's my Ohana there, Danny? On half an acre.
Oh, a little
Got a little
studio.
studio. All right. Got a
This
pool.
is the typical Maui Meadows compound, eh?
There it is. So my little studio Ohana right next to it. There it is. Lots of stairs taking me down to my pool. Lots of queen
Lots
palms all around. No
stairs
HOA for
inside.
rebels. You know,
This
very,
view,
very Maui Meadows.
100%. This is the
Yep,
quintessential.
that's the one. Oh, we put it in escrow.
Whoa, got him. Harbor Lights, 240,000.
Boom.
Two
All
bedroom, one
righty.
and a half bath. Took some
We
time,
shall see. We
months and
shall
months.
see. We shall
But
see.
we're seeing things pick up on Harbor Lights. I'm seeing a couple other agents accepted deals recently as well. So something's
Well,
turning around
we've got the cash. It's one of the few places, right? So here we
right around the
go.
200,000 mark. Yeah.
Parkway's fairly new build there, 1663. Yeah, received market, little one drop. Boom. That's what's moving these days.
There it is.
Oh, a little pool
Oh,
action. That's why. Okay.
well, that's a little nicer than the average one.
Sure is.
Pool area,
Yeah, a little
little
gazebo.
spa.
Okay. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's why. That's why that extra juice there. Oh, okay.
This one
This
moved
one
real quick.
moved. There
That
you
was a
go.
deal.
Price it
You said
right.
it was a deal. It was a deal.
Price it right. Probably got a little shave over. Waikapu Gardens. What did it bring? 1175. All right. Man, that's a lot for Waikapu these days, Danny. It's just crazy, bro. Like that
There
was
you go.
that was prime, like first home. And this one here, Danny, check out how they got this finance. We're gonna call this chick and find out what's going on there and who did the deal.
Wow.
That's strong right there, brother.
Sure is. FHA.
That is strong.
Sure,
Still
that's hard to
active
get.
litigation. Still active litigation. Okay. Well, somebody priced this guy right here. 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Cash got it done.
Real quick, that's going to be a second home for someone.
All
Last
right. What's
but
the last
not
one here?
least. Oh,
PE
this one.
Holo. Okay.
This cute
One
little one.
bedroom funk. 1 bedroom, 2 bath funkiness. 2160 square feet. 1,675,000. What's the detached cottage? How big? Oh, okay. 2-1. Two
This is
acres.
like two properties, yeah.
There it is.
But they're small, so it's kind of interesting to see. Cute though.
Blew out that kitchen though. Yeah. Very haiku.
Very haiku. We talked
All
about a
right.
lot of things. We had a real
Vala out today.
conversation.
We real vala out today. Talked a lot.
Logic, emotion. Johnny,
Yes.
we tantalized them on Wednesday that we are going to give out a little prize, a little reward for hitting 100 subscribers. Thank you for some of your sweet comments about helping us grow, about telling us to keep it up. We do appreciate that. We hope this is helpful. Our intention was just to bring you kind of under the hood and into our conversations that we have as professionals in this industry, as people invested in this place. So,
Yep.
what do you want to do? I want to
Well,
celebrate.
Danny, it's International Pineapple Day.
Yeah,
We'll
should we
mail
send
him
them
some
some
pine.
pineapples?
Let's mail him some pineapple. Maui Golds, baby,
We
or
will
the cash
mail
equivalent.
you some pineapples or the cash equivalent.
There it
So,
is. You choose.
what should we do? Drop a comment, email us. What do you want them
There
to
it
do?
is. Who do you know is the hundredth? How do we know that?
I don't know, just whoever responds. Or should we do a
Oh,
little random draw? Should we do a random draw?
okay. I don't know how
All
we'll
right.
do that. You
So,
give us the instructions.
all right. You drop a comment or send us an email, info@d2rhawaii.com with the phrase 100 pineapples, and we will put you in the list. We'll do a drawing on Monday. How about that?
All right. I love it.
100 pineapples. If you want pineapples shipped directly to your door, or we'll do cash equivalent. So love.
That's the comment. We're not sending you 100 pineapples.
Yeah,
delete,
no.
delete.
We could do keychain pineapples. We could
There
do a
you
hundred
go.
of those. A
Yeah.
hundred of those. I
Danny's
think I
right
could get them
next to
print.
China.
I can get
Danny's
them
right next
printed.
to China.
Yep, easy peasy. So 100 pineapples. Drop it in the comments. Shoot us an email, and we'll add you to the list. We'll do a little drawing on Monday. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hanging out with
Happy
us.
Aloha
Thanks for all your
Friday. Ahoy ho.
Aloha Friday.
All right.